Hi everyone, I'm Johnny Giraldo. I am PhD student at the University of La Rochelle in France. And today I'm gonna talk about our paper, Graph Moving Object Segmentation. This paper was published in a transaction on pattern analysis and machine intelligence. So what is the motivation of this work? As you know, deep learning methods require a lot of label information to avoid overfitting. These methods are well known to be data hungry. And what we want to do here is to take advantage of the geometrical information that we can get from data to reduce the number of label information that we need in some learning process. Here we are gonna use graphs to extract this geometrical information. The problem that we are solving here is moving object segmentation. In this problem, you have some videos and you have some frames in those videos. For example, in this frame, you have some objects that are moving and some objects that are static. So basically, at the end, the objective is to get those moving objects. In this work, we are inspired from the techniques of graph signal processing to solve this video processing problem. Now, some basic definitions in graphs. A graph is a mathematical entity and it's represented with a set of nodes and a set of edges. You can use the adjacency matrix to represent the structure of the graph. So for example, if you have a node I and a node J, if you have a weight, an edge between those two nodes, in the adjacency matrix, you are gonna have a weight in the position I and in the position J. If you have an undirected graph, that means that the adjacency matrix is gonna be symmetric because the same weight between the node I and the node J is the same weight between the node J and the node I. So that's the adjacency matrix. And we also have another important definition in graph signal processing, that is the graph signal. The graph signal is a function that goes from the set of nodes to the real values. So for example, for each node, we can associate a numerical value. At the end, you can represent a graph signal as a vector in Rn. Another important tool in graph signal processing is the reconstruction and sampling of graph signals. So for example, here we have a graph, and in graph signal processing, we have the structure of the graph, that is the way in which the nodes are connected between each others. And we also have the graph signal associated to those nodes. So for example, if we have here a node that is representing Munich, and this node is representing Berlin, for example, the graph signals are gonna be the colors of those nodes. For example, in the case of Berlin and Munich, it could be the temperatures in those cities at this moment. Now, the sampling of graph signals consists in sample some of those nodes. So for example, we are gonna have the graph signal of these nodes, but in these black nodes, we are not gonna know what is the numerical value there. Now, the objective of the reconstruction of graph signals is to try to get the original graph signal as better as possible with the samples that we have and the structure of the graph. So that's the problem of sampling. We need to select some of the nodes so that we can reconstruct as better as possible the whole graph signal. And now, what is the idea in our method? Basically, we have some frames in the videos and we have some objects in those videos. So for example, here we have two cars that are gonna be mapped to green nodes in the graph. And we have some cards behind these two cards that are going to be static cards, so they are going to be mapped to blue nodes in the graph. We can also have some nodes in which we don't know what is the label there, so those nodes are going to be black nodes. And you know, in a real scenario, you are not going to have like this whole color graph, but you are going to have some samples and you are going to have the structure of the graph. So basically at the end, the objective is to color this full graph as better as possible with the samples that we have and the structure of the graph. More technically, we get some instances from the videos, and those instances are mapped to nodes in the graph. The representation of each instance that is going to be a node is given by motion, texture, intensity, and background features. We can also add edit features here. And the graph is constructed with a KNN algorithm. Now, the pipeline of the algorithm is this. We have some videos, and for each video, we are gonna have some instance segmentation, or we can also have superpixel segmentation. We can have a block-wise segmentation. We can also have semantic segmentation. And each of these instances, we extract some features. We also use the background initialization of the video, that in this case is a very basic one, is the median filter. And we extract some features for each node. Now the nodes are gonna be mapped to the graph using a KNN algorithm. And we need to construct the graph signals using some partial ground truth information. So that, for example, here we have people that is walking, so they are gonna be mapped to green nodes in the graph. And for example, here you can see a bike that is static in behind. So this bike is gonna be mapped to a blue node in the graph. Now we are gonna have several videos. We are gonna construct the graph with those videos, and we are gonna make graph sampling. In this case, the graph sampling is that we are gonna choose some nodes that don't belong to the scene that we want to segment. And then we solve this semi-supervised learning algorithm with reconstruction algorithms inspired from the graph signal processing community. In this case, here we solve the problem using the minimization of the Sobolev norm of graph signals, but we can also use the total variation minimization of graph signals. These are some results, some visual results. Here we have graph mods, that's our algorithm. Here we have a deep learning method, and here we have unsupervised methods. Here we have some numerical results. These three methods are deep learning methods, and they are also using unseen videos scheme. And these algorithms are unsupervised learning methods. You can see that our method have a good performance, but we still have some problems in some of the challenges. In conclusion, this work introduces concepts of graph signal processing in the problem of moving object segmentation. Our algorithm is composed of segmentation, feature extraction from node representation, graph construction, and the minimization of the Sobolev norm or total variation norm or graph signals to solve the semi-supervised learning problem. We can see that exploiting the geometrical information helps in this case in moving object segmentation with minimal supervision. And for future work, an important research direction is to study graph neural networks for graph moving object segmentation. That's because in this case, if we add a new node to the problem, we need to solve the whole problem again. We need to make the optimization algorithm again. So basically, this algorithm is still slow. But if we use a graph neural network, we can solve that problems. And finally, perhaps concept of graph signal processing, such as active semi-supervised learning, could lead in new developments in the field of computer vision and end-to-end architectures for video analysis with semi-supervised learning. Thank you very much for your attention.